with 247's National Recruiter of the Year being named. And that's in Oregon. What a staff they have over there. Chris Hampton, the co-defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach, again, has been named 247's National Recruiter of the Year.
Yeah, and I think really to me what makes a great recruiter, look, the logo on the helmet or on the polo, on the hat helps, right? If you're Oregon, top program, everybody loves the uniforms. They've seen success. They've grown up with Oregon success, probably more so than any other generation. So that makes it a little easier, right? No question. But to me, the ability to go to enemy territory and land players is what really makes a great recruiter. And when I look at Chris Hampton, by the numbers, he got this award, right? Just average star rating, all those kind of things. But look at the geography of what he's done for this number 5 class. Now, for those who don't know, Chris Hampton, co-DC and DB coach at Oregon, came from Tulane when they had that great season, won the Cotton Bowl, played at South Carolina, Southern guy. But man, he is Mr. Worldwide right now. When you look at these defensive backs he's landing, go to Birmingham, Alabama, right in the heart of the SEC. You flip Naeem Offord, Ohio State right in there, which is a team that has had a lot of success with cornerbacks. Of course, he's in the Southeastern Conference footprint, goes and flips him the 12th player overall, not just corners, 12th player overall nationally in the composite, get him to come to the University of Oregon. Then you go to the Midwest, Cleveland, Shaker Heights, and get Trey McNutt. Again, look at these cities, Birmingham, Alabama, Cleveland, Ohio, it's all Big Ten country. Go in there and get the number 2 safety on the composite, the 29th ranked player nationally. How about the Mid-Atlantic? You go to Owings Mills, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, to land Brandon Finney, the number 6 cornerback in the country, number 1 overall player in Maryland. By the way, Maryland's been doing a much better job of keeping the top talent home, not Brandon Finney. Number 40 overall player in the composite goes to Oregon. And then top it off, you go to Conroe, Texas. I mean, we're talking about Texas A&M, Texas, all the SEC schools. This is a Houston Metro high school getting Dorian Brew, number 9 cornerback on the composite, number 98 overall. So talk about great recruiters to go to places where you are not the born favorite, right? These kids grew up being exposed to all other kind of schools, highly competitive areas where everybody recruits and where you're traveling the most and getting these guys. I think he deserves this award. Absolutely.
I'm pulling up his 247 page here as a recruiter, and you see the guys that you were talking about here. But I mean, this is, and it's cool because this is not an opinion-based award, right? Like you mentioned, it's based on what the rankings were, the guys that you were the primary recruiter or secondary recruiter, you get certain points for, and you see it here, 2 5-star defensive backs, right? And you mentioned where you're getting these guys from, coast to coast here. You got Offord, McNutt, and then you got these 3 other guys who are just outside of that 5-star range.
Yeah, I didn't mention Aaron Flowers, another defensive back from Dallas, Texas. So if you're drawing a map and you're saying, what are the most hotly contested areas, right? I think all of these cities, Birmingham, Alabama, Cleveland, Ohio, Baltimore, Maryland, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, these are places that everybody in the country recruits hard, and that have certain hometown ties beyond the University of Oregon, all the way in Eugene, Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest. So just an outstanding job, and the ability to relate to different kinds of kids. Because we know, Pete, you've been in this recruiting game long time agent. So you've traveled to all these different places. When you're recruiting a kid as an agent, it's a lot different recruiting a kid from Alabama, recruiting a kid from Texas, recruiting a kid from Seattle, Washington, right? These are all different types of kids because it's different parts of the country.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think that also speaks to the strength of this Oregon staff. We were talking about it off air before we came on, and we said, man, this is such a well-rounded staff.
Oh, at Oregon, it's a superstar staff. And, starting here, I think if you're looking at a head coach candidate, Chris Hampton, what he did at Tulane, what now he's done at Oregon, the ability to recruit, it's hard for me not to see this guy following in the footsteps of his current boss, Dan Lanning, in using that defensive coordinator position, that heavy recruiting reputation that he has there at Oregon, just like Lanning did at Georgia, to get a truly competitive Power 4 type job that can compete for conference championships, potentially for national championships. I think he's that kind of guy where his next job is not just going to be a head coaching job, but could be a head coaching job that is highly coveted.
Yep, I agree with that without a doubt. I think he's going to be ready for it when the time comes. So,
but look, big job ahead of him for this year in terms of on the field, right? You're losing a ton on your defensive line, right? So with everything you lose on the defensive line, you lose a heck of a linebacker in Basa. You do bring back some good pieces in the secondary. You do bring back some good pieces on the edge. You have talent coming back on defense, but there's a lot to replace, and there's super high expectations for the Oregon Ducks.
Ty Dreek says Oregon, the home of laundering money. I don't know, man. Phil Knight does pretty well for the program, I would say.
I think Miami, Florida, where we're at, might be the home of laundering money. At least since the 80s.
So, again, guys, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate everyone who's on with us live. Get in the comments, ask questions.